Hey everyone, Jim here, doing my comparison review of the Zoom Stryder versus the Glion Dolly. Some of this will be based on the data I collected on the individual tests for both of these. I'll link that if I can, or figure out how to do all that. And some of it I took some footage with my son and my lady friend where we did some videos to hopefully show what the data was representing, so hopefully it worked. But anyway, they're kind of in the same price range, pretty close battery capacity, 238 watt hours of power on the Glion and 220 on the Zoom Stryder. So that translates distance-wise. Glion advertises 15 miles. I got to average over that at 15.7 miles. Zoom, on the other hand, averages 18.5. They say 30 kilometers, so about 18.5 miles. I got around 12.5 miles. And, you know, that's a common thing for this kind of exaggeration with manufacturers. My son, weighing 100 pounds, got closer to the range. He got a little bit under 18. So, you know, that's a... I mean, I think they both go far enough. It's just how they advertise versus what they actually do. So now we're going to talk about the acceleration tests. And I'm going to pop into the... I'm not going to pop in the video, but I'm going to pop up the video, and that's going to kind of explain it, and I'm going to talk about a little summary right at the end of that. So let's zoom it. Alright, we're doing a showdown with the Glion and the Zoom Stryder. Alright, whenever you guys are ready, you want me to do 3, 2, 1? Yeah. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Alright, we got...
Oh, no way! I heard that this is but a slightly lighter rider. Shouldn't have eaten that pizza last night, man.
Alright, we're gonna try this one more time. Alright, don't over kick, Milo. Make sure you're... Alright, we're gonna do it one more time. Alright, we got another race. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, that's a little closer. Hope you enjoyed the acceleration test. Just races between my lady friend and my son, who are about 10 pounds apart in weight, just to kind of give an interpretation. And honestly, it's a little hard to see in that video what my testing indicated. My testing actually showed that the Glion got to 100 feet about a half a mile per hour faster. So we got to 100 feet at a little over 13 miles an hour with the Glion, and to 100 feet with the Zoom at 12.1. That makes me think the thing I need to do in the future is to time it versus do a speed. Because if you look in the video, you can tell these two scooters are really close in performance. If you take the different weight into account, so my son won every time, but the difference was smaller when he was on the Zoom versus my lady friend being on the Glion. So that to me suggests that this might actually be a little bit quicker, which is surprising because it doesn't feel like it. And of course that's hard to translate on a video, but the Zoom feels a lot spunkier. Some of it could be the throttle, because this thumb throttle is much jerkier to engage than the twist throttle on the Glion, which is very smooth. So now we're going to go into showing some braking.
Technical difficulty.
So as far as braking goes, in my opinion, and the data shows that the Glion is much stronger, especially if you're just using the electronic brake. The interesting thing, it's stronger, but it doesn't, at the same time, it could be the wider handlebars, it doesn't feel like it wants to pitch you off of it. So the Glion got from basic top speed to stopped And for me, at a 43.5 feet, and the Zoom was almost 71 feet. And the difference for my son, who's 100 pounds at the time and he's 105 pounds now, was about 20 feet difference between the two, 20 feet shorter on the Glion. Now, the distances to stopping are closer when engaging the scuffer brake. And I've ridden this almost 400 miles, and I still have trouble in my mind using the scuffer brake. It just doesn't feel natural to keep my foot like at the ready to use it. So if you're using the throttle only in an emergency situation, you're going to cover like 7 lanes of traffic before this thing stops. This, you're still going to stop, you know, probably what's too far. There probably should be a mechanical brake of some sort, but at least it feels a lot more responsive to stopping than the Zoom. So braking, the Glion wins braking. So now we're going to go on to what I'm headlight test. So the headlight test is short. It just shows they're both radically bright. The thing that's most surprising to me is that even though the Glion's light is so much lower, it must be the beam pattern is wider or something. It doesn't, looking the way I have it set in it's on the dash of my car, it doesn't seem to affect the visibility coming towards a vehicle that much and I really expected that to be much poorer. So I would say tie as far as headlight goes. So far, acceleration, I think it actually goes to the Glion. Braking to the Glion. Kind of a wash as far as lights go. And the intangible that's not in this video is ride quality. It's not even comparison. The Zoom has pretty good amount of travel. I don't know what the actual amount of travel in the suspension is, but this is smooth. You can ride this off-road. You can go over bumps. I hop off curbs. You can't do any of this on the Glion. You could, but and you're going to take a beating. But to me, they almost have different. This feels like riding a BMX bike, and this feels like riding an old cruiser. It's wide and comfortable, but it's not super responsive. This feels very responsive. If you only have 5 to 10 miles to go, either one's going to do a job pretty well for you. I have both these scooters at home, and I bought both of them. I always grab the Zoom. So I'm going to grab my son, and I'm going to get some of his feedback from a younger rider. Be right back. Hey Milo, come on in.
Hello.
Alright, so this is Milo, and I wanted to get his feedback. So, of these two scooters, what do you like? What do you like more?
I like the Glion more because it has a super powerful brake, and it has a faster acceleration depending on the weight of the rider.
But it feels smoother, right?
Yeah, much smoother.
And then one thing while we were doing the acceleration test you don't see in there is my lady friend wasn't used to the cruise control, and right now I have it set in cruise control mode because I think for commuting that's really helpful. And she kind of had a little bit of a encounter with a fence. That was because she didn't know it was in cruise control. So I think that also maybe is a little bit of a, you can turn it off, but it's nice. This feels more controllable, right? Even though when you go over a bump, it feels like it's going to buck you off like a Bronco. It feels more stable if it's smooth, right?
With the thumb throttles, you can't really get a stable acceleration, right. But with the twisties, you can kind of go and then stay at one point. Mm-hmm. With the thumb throttles, you're like...
Yeah, so trying to go at something less than the top speed on the Zoom, like Milo's saying, is really difficult. While on the Glion, it's easy to do. That the control mechanisms I really do like. And if they had those controls on this scooter with a better brake and the suspension, I would be pretty psyched with that. Well, I think that kind of does it for the review or the comparison. Personally, I would take the Zooms over, like I said before, I picked this one out over this one. It's lighter, and where I commute, I need the suspension because it's bumpy. That being said, if I was going to go a long distance and I was going somewhere I knew was smooth, I would grab the Glion, assuming if you can have both. And what would you grab?
I would probably, if it was smooth, I would grab the Glion, but the Zoom is so nice because of the suspension. Like, with this, you can't even go off a crack.
Right.
With that, it's smooth.
Right. Well, I guess everybody's preference is a little different, so I'm not going to say this one's amazingly better than that one. I do have a couple other scooters I want to do comparisons of. So I hope this helps, even though I'm not saying 100% this one is better than that one. I think it depends on your use a little bit. But we'll throw another scooter in the mix, or I might just do like a King of the Hill, if I can decide which of these two is the King of the Hill, maybe. But anyway, that does it. Thanks, Milo, for helping.
You're welcome.
And testing and all that. He's not wearing it now, but I make sure he's all geared up for these tests, and so, you know, I'm gonna be responsible that way. And I usually wear a helmet, of course. I'm gonna cut that little part out. That was dumb. All right. Yep. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in the next video and the next composite. All right.
Next composite.
Jeez. All right. We'll see you on the next video comparison. If you got some ideas on a scooter you'd like to see, some of the ones I have coming up are the Eco Rico S5, the 08, and I'm gonna get some skateboards, and I'm gonna ride them all over the place. So see you next time. Catch the wave.